Today, guys, we're here with Josh Ferguson. He's in the correctional services, from the front lines to senior management. And we're going to go through his role with his process and the back and forth that he's done from start to finish. We're also going to go through his experience training MMA fighters, training current title holders within the boxing industry, as well as his GWL leadership, and then what he's done to help his career and the guys that work underneath him. So for anybody out there that's interested in anything leadership training, correctional services, MMA, you guys want to listen up to this one, because this is going to be fun. So I'm proud to have my friend Josh Ferguson on the podcast, and here he is.
Fired up, man. I got goosebumps from that.
Good.
It's fucking great to be here.
So, when I look at, and I'll bust your balls here, because, when I look at, your bio, Joshua Ferguson, and it seems, this, biblical name, and I'm, thinking, most guys refer to this, to you as Ferg, okay? Yeah. And, you're just a degenerate like all the rest of us. Okay?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's going to be a cool dynamic, because I'm always we tend to get locked in these who we meet someone in high school, meet someone in university, and just like my kids, I'm always saying okay, everything's this phase or everything's a stage, and even for my life, we're here and then we're here, and then we look back and say, holy shit, that's the way I thought back then, and people have different perspectives of you since whether it's high school or whether it's university or college.
Yeah.
And I'm always amazed that when we kind of look back, how much time has passed, but we don't really realize how people changed during that time period. So this is going to be super interesting. So we're gonna start. I know you're from Guelph.
Wherever you want to.
Yeah. When I first met this guy here, he was looking. He would tape a picture of a quarterback on his ceiling. Okay, and it wasn't for what you think. Okay, he would that's how he got fired up for the football games. And him and I were always on opposing teams. I don't think we ever played on the same team. So I know
grade 11. Did you play grade 11 when we amalgamated the teams?
No.
I didn't play. I was on the sideline.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't.
But yeah.
So I know the mentality here, right? And I know the fight that's within this guy. So it's interesting to see that transform. So I'm gonna take it away with you. Let's just start off. We don't need the whole. I was a little boy growing up in Guelph, but I'd love to know the correctional service part, how you started, from where you started to what you're doing now within that realm.
Yeah. Obviously, it's nice to be here. I really appreciated it. I'm actually going to tell you a story about one of the first times I really got to know you on a field. We're going to save that for a minute, but just listening to you introduce things, it just brought back a million different things in my memory, which I think is hilarious, because our youth is what makes us who we are, right? Our youth is what makes us who we are, and I'm sure everybody has points that they wish they could have a time machine. I ask people for it all the time. I talk to a lot of people. The first thing I ask them is, anybody has access to a time machine, let me be the first one you call. I could use it, but the reality is that everything that happened to me growing up, my path, your path, that's what makes us who we are today. And that's an important part of growing up. Learning lessons, getting to where you are, understanding, but not beating yourself up for the things that you did and making the mistakes you did, because without those mistakes, me and you wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah. And I agree. And I think too, not one thing defines us, right?
That's right.
And you are constantly changing. There's people out there that says, people don't change, but I don't believe that for a second.
That is the essence of leadership. Mm-hmm. Is the constant journey of learning, developing, and growing. Forgiving yourself, using mistakes, setbacks, and barriers as an opportunity to improve, learn, and grow. Because really you have two things that you can do with events in your life. Things that happen, influential things. You can use them to make yourself better, or you can use them to tell yourself a story. Those are the two things that you're going to do with them. And that's a choice you get to make. Leadership is a choice you get to make. A choice you get to make every day. You know, and I think that's what's so motivating and inspiring about it. And that's where my path brought me to today.
Okay.
You know, going through high school, football was my life, to the point where, you know, I kind of got sick of it. It was like I had been not forced into it, but it had been such a focal point in my youth. I missed birthdays, I missed parties, I missed, you know, important things to me that a small resentment grew inside of me. You know, so for the next, once high school was over, recruiters realized I didn't even apply to university, let alone go to UFC, which didn't impress a ton of people.
Yeah.
You know, one of those things I wish I could take back, but can't. I went out and I experienced life. I made a lot of mistakes. You know, I went and I lived in London. I went to school for law enforcement. Ironically enough, dropped out of school, which I didn't really understand the impact of doing that, let alone it was one of the most influential things I did in my life. I worked part-time at a bar for a couple years, made a lot of money, had a lot of fun, but had very little purpose. Came home for a plethora of different reasons. My parents opened a, you know, quote unquote turnkey operation, large format print company. That's kind of where we connected at one point, one of those connection points at one point through our life. I spent a good 8 years there. When we opened the door, I realized that we lacked the knowledge and education, the language. One of the things that I wanted to contribute to or do was to go to school to educate myself. I felt probably at the time that it was some form of redemption for myself in leaving school. So I went to graphic design school. I can't draw. I can't use a computer. However, I did graduate at the top of my class and received an award. And it was because a large portion of it was because of the effort I put into other people, always gravitating towards helping other people out. Because I had this other environment at this family business, I was more educated on how machines worked, how the design process worked, and my learning curve was exponential.
The only thing you don't do is how to manage people, right? Like, you can go to school for all this stuff, but, you know, to manage people and motivate people is very difficult when you're in a business.
You know what? It's a different thing, and I love that you went there because it's a skill I was crafting and honing without ever knowing I was crafting and honing it. And you have very similar traits, you know? And I want to come back to this for a second. But if I don't, my mind will go in 100 different directions. And so I'm sitting at this family business, and, you know, it provided me a lot of opportunities. Like we were saying before, we ended up coaching football. Ended up being a head coach of a high school football team at a very young age with a lot of young men in our charge. Did our best in that environment. Another place I feel like I could go back now with the knowledge I have and just serve those people so much more. That being said, I think, you know, we did a good job. I think we did the best we could. That kind of came to an end. My life changed when I got into boxing. That was kind of the first thing that really flipped a switch for me. And that just came on the half of me running my big mouth. That got me beat up more times than I've had hot meals in my life, you know. And I was told, hey, show up at this boxing gym. And I did. I was there for about a month. And then I had an opportunity to spar. And I will never forget Ernesto and Fabricio. I appreciate you greatly. Gave me my first real ass whooping. To the point where I think they weighed like 140, 150 pounds at a time. I probably weighed close to 260. And my first sparring session ended with a 14-year-old in my corner. Tell me, Josh, like, this is boxing. You have to throw punches. Like, what are we doing? And admittedly, you know, I ended up in a corner and I did this, and I lifted my leg and I stood in the corner in the fetal position. And I just got my ass kicked. And at the end, there was this environment where everybody respected it. I was they understood I was having a hard time, but nobody beat me up for it. And the two guys who spent the last, you know, I want to say 15 minutes, but the reality is it was probably closer to like 2.5 minutes. They were accepting. They're like, hey, we're going to get better. And I thought, man, I just got beat to a pulp by two guys that weigh half my size.
Yeah.
And now they're accepting me. They're embracing me. And I just felt like I was home. Like, oh, this is the place. This is the environment and place I was supposed to be. Which rolls into meeting my now, my mentor, my colleague, one of my best friends, Stevie Bailey, #1 coach in Canada. So I started to really change the way I viewed life.
Yeah.
And I started to look for purpose. I started to look for value.
Yeah. So the difference too, like the difference between that and football, right, is something where like my experience with football is that I did it. I didn't get pushed into it. Okay.
Yeah.
And I jumped into it, and it gave a whole bunch of discipline that I didn't know we had. And then the accountability to the rest of the team. That's why like team sports to me, I think are adamant for any young person, male, female.
Yep.
But for you, that transition happened when you went to boxing. It didn't, with football, like you said, you were put into that for whatever reason. But with the boxing portion of it was just you, right? So there's a little bit more accountability on your side, and you have that, you still have that fire, right?
And don't get me wrong about football. It was hugely important to me. It allowed me. It was survival. It was education. It was
sucked, that's all.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't as best as I could be. Not everyone is 6'4" and 208 pounds, but I did my best. I did my best.
No, you did great.
And I think it allowed me to start building some confidence, but also recognizing what I don't want. And so I get into boxing just like you said, and it's a great point, right? When you enter into something yourself,
yeah,
there's an investment there.
There is.
There's an investment by yourself. And I really felt like up until that point, I have failed a lot of people around me, including myself. It was a difficult time in my life in terms of like, I started to clear the vision on what I had been doing and the person that I was slowly becoming.
Do you, in retrospect, like when you look back at that, do you honestly feel like you're letting people down, or you just feel like you weren't the person that you felt you could be?
I don't think I was living up to my potential.
Yeah.
And I think because I wasn't living up to my potential, I was letting people down. Now, I've learned to forgive myself. I was a young man with a lot going on. A lot of good things happened for me too. I don't want to paint this picture like I was ho-hum down in the dumps. Like I had a lot of good things going on. But what was influential is it really widened my vision on my potential, on what was possible. And I'll come back to that in a second. So fast forward, I started changing the way I look at life. I started looking for value. I started seeking out challenges. I started realizing that I'm capable of doing this and that. And I was surprising myself. I was building the confidence that I was trying to build in people when I was coaching. Pre-game speech, as a captain, as a coach, that type of thing. I started to feel it within myself, and I started to believe it. And I think that's the difference. I wasn't just saying it. I was believing it.
Yeah.
And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to try and be a cop. All I ever wanted to be when I was a kid was a cop. It was literally, this sounds so stupid, but me and my sister, we used to joke around that she would be an actress in New York and I would be a cop in Harlem. And the reason I wanted to be a cop in Harlem, because people told me that was the most dangerous place I could be. Yeah. So that's what I wanted when I was a kid. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do my best. At least if I don't do it, I'm going to put myself in a position where I know I've tried. I've done everything I can to put myself in a position to succeed. So I'm going through the police application process. I went to a friend's father, Pete. I owe you a debt of gratitude for all the help, the McEwen family for everything they did for me, the positions they put me in, the confidence that they helped me start to gain alongside of boxing and everything else, my family business, everything that was happening in my life. And during this process, it's not an easy process, another friend's father came to me and said, hey, there's jobs in corrections. Love to have you. Think you'd be a fantastic member on our team. Think about it. If you want to talk further about it, we'll be off to the races. So I thought, you know what? Why not? Why can't I do this? It's an opportunity. If I can't get my foot in the door because I left college or I didn't give myself the opportunity to garner the experience needed at that time in my life to become a police officer, I'll go collect the experience somewhere else. I truly believe that experience is king, especially when we go back to talking about building relationships and things like that. And so I got into corrections, and I found myself in it. People thought I was crazy. What are you doing? You think you're going to go be a jail guard? Like, I had people in my life who had previous experience in jail telling me how hard it was going to be, how it's not a nice environment. But I was just gravitated towards it. And I don't know, like, you know, how spiritual you are, but I truly believe the universe puts you in places that you are meant to be in, and you know that because you are there, you know? And I just found a home inside of corrections, and I was excelling at it, you know, talking, de-escalating situations, using my voice and my ability to speak to my advantage to help people understand, to keep people safe. I fell into this environment, and I invested in the environment and myself, and I watched the environment and the people around me invest back in me. And I think that was another hugely influential point in my life.
And you're not just using like I mean, even with whether it's boxing or in the correctional facility too, you're not just using, you know, your physical strength, right? You're using, you know, your like your mental awareness and things like that to try to diffuse situations. So it's not like, you know, get the hell back in your cell, right?
No.
Which I'm sure happens sometimes. But like, you know, for you, it's different. Like when you're perfecting a craft, you can't just be, you know, all muscle. You have to have both sides of that.
Balance in life.
Yeah.
In everything, which, you know, as we get into it and I start talking about Garden Warrior leadership, that is essentially where this idea or mission that I'm on now was born. Yeah. Is that idea. I learned very often, listen, everybody in jail can fight. Every man can wrestle and fight when his back is against the wall. But, you know, to quote one of my favorite movies in Braveheart, it's our wits that make us men.
Yeah.
You know, and I started to read. I started to read about the art of battle. I started to read about the psychological aspect of combat and fighting, because I had this interest in boxing. It was something that I connected with. And I realized, oh, you know, the ultimate victory in battle is to subdue an opponent without ever having to throw a strike to begin with. You know, is to use this.
Yeah.
This is what makes us men. This is what makes us the human beings we are. Everybody has these.
Yeah.
You know, and it really allowed me to shape my career. It allowed me to shape the type of officer I was in that environment. And then people started gravitating towards me. I started in a very small institution, one that allowed me to hone my skills, my interpersonal skills, my communication skills. I have been so friggin' lucky in my life to be surrounded by high performers and people who excel in their areas of expertise. I don't even know sometimes what I did to deserve to be surrounded by those people, but every day I am thankful. And I was surrounded by those people in the institution who saw potential in me.
So take us back. So where did you start? What prison?
I started at.
Okay.
I was there.
What kind of prison is that?
I would say the large portion of this is provincial jail, which means almost all of them, not all of them, are maximum security. Okay. To give you a breakdown, if you get charged and you go to jail, you're going to a provincial institution until your charge comes to resolution in court. Okay. Once you're sentenced, if you get 2 years over a day and you have time to serve, you go down under and or the pen. Mm-hmm. If you get 2 years less a day, then you get sentenced. Oftentimes you've already served your time. By the time legal proceedings get done, you stay in your provincial jail. So provincial jail is super tumultuous. Okay. You get people coming in, they're coming down off drugs, they're coming down off booze, they're coming down on, they've just been separated from their family. A lot of people have kids, newlyborns, coming to terms with the fact that they are facing time in jail. It's not a great environment. And so when I was in, it was a smaller institution, and I sought out more. I actually remember sitting at a table a lot like this in an area with a couple of senior officers and a good friend of mine, and I was looking through policy and procedure. And then one of the older guys kind of laughed at me. He said, "What do you think you're doing?" I said, "Well, we need to know this stuff." Like it was like caught me off guard. Like when I'm reading policy and procedure, like this is what we're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
He kind of laughed. He said, "Where do you think you're going?" And I said, "Well, down the road on the 401, with a contentious facility. Bad people were there, good guards were there. We always heard stories coming down the 401, and I thought that's where I want to be." And there was a position inside a facility, a security position at a sergeant rank, and then the tactical team for the jail. And I thought, I'm going to retire in this position and as the tactical team coordinator. So they laughed at me. We actually made a bet, which I will leave out of it for details. I'll spare you the details.
Yeah.
5 years. 5 years it took me. Didn't think I'd get there in 30. Another moment in my life where I showed up for myself and I proved myself that I could do it for myself. And that was a big deal to me. So a couple years in, I go to and I meet some of the guys that I come up with. I'm on the tactical team. I'm surrounded by, again, just an amazing group of human beings. And I kind of made a career for myself there, sometimes doing things that other people weren't jumping up to do. But I had slowly been developing this like efficacy within myself, this belief in myself. And the funny thing, well, I suppose it's not funny. Be careful the words I use.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about jail is that there's no hiding. It's a lot like martial arts, and it's a lot like boxing, which is one of the reasons that I like it, is the truth is there. There's no hiding from it. There's no running from it. Yeah. You're put in situations, all eyes are on you, and it's stressful. A lot of the decisions you make in leadership positions in a facility, a lot like every law enforcement, are people's safety is dependent on it. People going home to their wives, their children is dependent on the decisions you make. The people on the other side, their safety is dependent on the decisions you make. And in a split second, you can make a poor decision. You're left questioning everything you did. And it was important to me to develop this efficacy in myself so I could make those decisions and I could do them in real time and I could lead people through these difficult situations. Because the one thing that I knew, was I was scared. And that's something that not a lot of people in that environment were willing to admit.
But that's a good thing.
You have to be scared.
Yeah.
Fear is a manifestation of your ego trying to protect yourself. And that's your ego trying to be your friend. It's not working against you. It's your ego saying like, hey, this is something to be scared of. Stay sharp. I'm going to make you scared so you maybe don't go do it and put yourself in a position where you can get hurt. It's your ego actually trying to protect you, not to work against you.
So when you were, okay, so I mean, I guess some parallels to it. It is funny because I should say that it's funny. But, even for us, like I look at my business and I make a mistake, I don't get a listing signed. Someone makes a mistake in your profession and they don't go home.
Yeah.
So like when you're
now,
what's your day-to-day?
What's my day-to-day?
Yeah, like what was your, like let's just go, like I want to dive deep into like what did you do on a day-to-day basis? And, like we'll merge that into where you are now. Like, I mean, because obviously there's things that you saw that you're like, okay, we can do this better. Or we can change this, or right? Because you when you were meeting with your sergeants, they're like, where do you think you are, right? Like there's even in any industry, in our industry, right? Book work, and then there's field work. Like when you have your book work where you can learn all the ins and the outs, that's fine. But in practice, it doesn't work that way. So like tell me, when you first started, where did you start? Like you're at the bottom of the barrel. You're watching inmates. You're like, what are you doing?
Frontline correctional officer. Your job
what is that?
Your job is care, custody, and control.
Okay.
Your job is not judge, jury, or executioner. Your job is to maintain operations of the facility. Your job is to facilitate inmates going to court in and out of the building. You are maintaining security of the facility, which means you need to be observant. You chop.
So are they there long term?
Well, they're there until they're they can.
hearing.
Guys can be there for 7-8 years or longer if their court case keeps getting put off.
Yeah.
If they're keep getting remanded, depending on the situation they're in, it's pretty variable dependent. But then you have the guy who's in there for 30 days
mixed with the guy that's in there for 8 years,
and it can become difficult. And you listen, the three of us sit in a room. You turn up the heat a little bit and you leave us in here and you give us a bathroom.
Yeah.
And our meals are dispersed and we have to, toilet paper is split up, giving all your basic needs. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of services and things that officers provide that people don't think about, like real good things. They do a lot of good work in there. They do a lot of rehabilitative work where they invest in the guys. There's a lot of invested correctional officers in our system.
Is that's not the mandate though, right? Like that's not, like, do you see that, the rehabilitation very often, but you see the officers, take note of that, but do you see programs and...
Tons of programs, tons of programming. Our government has mandated programming. It is a massive part of correctional system, and really it's one that we want, right? We want people coming in, and we don't want them going back out into the community and coming back in. We want them to go out and integrate themselves in the community and change their lives and make better decisions. And that's such a wide field of play in terms of decisions made and variables, right? Like it does depend on the human being and the reasons they're in there. Now, recidivism is huge. It's high. Like once you're in jail and you get out, you get locked into this system and it's very difficult to get out. And I say that from watching it, not from experiencing it, and I think that's important for me to say, because we say all the time, oh, I know what it's like. No, I don't know. I've seen it. I've interacted with people.
I mean, that goes down to the grassroots of it, but like that's what you're seeing. So as a prison guard, you're seeing people fighting all the time, every day.
Assaults,
every day.
Breaking up assaults.
And you're breaking up. Are you filling your days with paperwork after that, or how does the
paperwork, care, custody, and control? So you got to care for the people.
Yeah.
And it depends on your role. Everybody's got a different job, like on any team.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's got a different role. Everybody's got to concentrate on their role. Frontline officers are more focused on the inmates, making sure they're okay, making sure everybody is safe, where they need to be, medical is done, things like that. A sergeant's role is kind of overseeing. You're like a coordinator, making sure everybody is doing their job, making sure everybody is going to where they need to be.
What's the
and then it mixes.
What's the numbers of prison guards to inmates? You don't want to know.
Yeah, you don't.
Right? So how does that, like have you personally had somebody attack you as a guard?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And that's a common practice for anybody in there.
So it wouldn't be uncommon, no.
No. Okay.
Now, it's just like, there are certain things I have to be careful about what I say. And when I talk about attacking, it's like...
like, did they get charged? Like, if an inmate attacks you...
I've never charged an inmate. No.
But you could?
Sure. If an inmate, like any human being.
Okay. So even though that's your job, right? If an inmate attacks a correctional officer,
it's not my job to get assaulted.
Okay, fair enough. So
it's care, custody, and control. And an unfortunate inherent part of the job is that you are put in situations where you have to break up fights, where people take things out on you that are, like a correctional officer demonstrates empathy at a black belt level. To me and you are in a unit. I'm the officer, you're the inmate. You haven't been able to be on the phone all day because of politics and the rest of it. It's your son's birthday. You get 5 minutes before I come in and lock up. Your wife takes 3 of them up. All you want to do is sit on the phone with your son. That's all you want to do. Call it politics. You might be low man on the totem pole. A million different reasons you didn't get around to it. And I come in and say, you got 2 minutes to lock up. But you've been waiting months to talk to your son. You miss him. Like, I know you have kids, and to imagine not to be able to see them or to have another human being, yourself included, keep you from being able to see them is a pain that I would never want to experience for myself. And then I tell you, you hang up the phone.
Yeah.
You gonna hang up the phone?
No.
No. Right? Does that mean you hate me?
Right now?
It's just I'm the guy that's telling you.
Yeah.
That you got to hang up the phone.
Yeah.
And eventually, if you're not going to hang up the phone, I'm going to hang up the phone.
Yeah.
I don't hate you. We have no personal animosity, but that situation and that environment has created a scenario where men are forced to choose.
Yeah.
Now, choose to deal with me or choose to get an extra minute on the phone with your son.
Yeah.
I'll deal with you 100 days out of 100 days for the extra minute on the phone.
Yeah,
with my
for sure.
son.
For
so
sure.
I understand that. I try and understand that. Try and be, because you got to walk in there 30 minutes later and deal with that same guy.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to provide him with the resources. You need to be able to do your job without taking those things personally.
Yeah, and you have to wash it. You have to wash that off. Like where they'll fester on that.
You will too.
Yeah.
You will too. Yeah, sure. You don't want to be. Do I want to be that guy that does that every time? It's like, holy fuck, I got to do this again to this guy.
Yeah.
I got to do this again to this guy. I got to do this again to this guy.
Yeah.
But it's day after day, fight after fight.
Yeah.
Day after day, fight after fight.
So
year after year, fight after fight after day.
So how long did you do that?
10 years.
You did that for 10 years?
Yep. Just prior to my 10th anniversary, I took this temporary assignment that I'm on now.
Okay. So then, but that was so
in
like
London. Majority of my career was spent in.
Yeah.
I did a temporary assignment with a specialized unit inside of our ministry.
Yeah.
Where I worked out of some larger institutions. Particularly, went back to
right. Okay.
And then got to where I am today. Is still inside a facility in a uniform with my gear and my guys.
Like a tac squad or no?
That is a position unto my home position.
So you can be like, so the tactical squad is not just, you're just on the tac force and just waiting for something to happen. You're
doing your regular
doing something else.
You're doing your regular job, and then
so tell me about
which are some of the best officers in our province. The best officers in our province, and I want to give them a little shout out because all correctional officers, man, they don't get the credit they deserve. They are a valuable, functioning part of law enforcement.
Yeah.
They do a lot of hard work. They get zero credit, and the opportunity to put them on a platform for a second and just credit them with the job they're doing. I want you to know what you do matters. The people in our communities appreciate it. They just work so damn hard, and they deserve a little bit of credit.
So let's jump into that just a second here. So when, like, we're gonna unravel that. Like you and I were chatting before too about the correctional officer. I want to kind of mix with, like, I have no idea what the pay is. I have no idea if it fits the bullshit that they go through. Okay, so if you can touch on that, great. But the other thing is that, you know, we talked about it. If you're in policing and you're on the outside here, sometimes you're going and you know, you're helping people and you're rescuing people. Yes, you might have to be that guy, right, to put the phone down. But you are also that guy that helps save people, and then you get credit. Now I know that job has its pros and its cons, but for your gig, there isn't like, I don't see a plus. Like, I don't see, you know, you're going into a prison, keeping people into a prison. You're not making them, like, I don't care what you do. Are you really making them feel happy? Right? Like, you're not.
Yeah.
Like, so so just unravel that for me.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you bring that up, number one, because that is a big part of why I am doing what I am doing now.
Yeah.
Very early on, I looked around at my environment and the people in it, and it's a negative, toxic environment.
These guys.
What's
your mind?
It's a negative, toxic environment, and people didn't feel value. You know, we don't have the opportunity like you said, I don't have the opportunity. Your family feels like a door was left open, and you phone the police to provide your family and your kids and you some comfort and some security. I get to show up. Maybe no one was there. Maybe someone was there, but I do a search and a clear. I let you know you're safe. I talk to your kids for a couple minutes. They smile. They get to meet a police officer, a firefighter, a paramedic, thank them for the work they do. And you put smiles on people's faces.
Yeah.
That opportunity isn't there in corrections. Just how much do you know about corrections?
Nothing.
Just a question. It's not much. It's because they don't go out of our way to communicate with the public in terms of what is going on in facilities. And one of the things that I did for myself early on was I created value for myself. I created that positive feedback for myself. I found my why. And the reason I was doing what I was doing was so that the people I loved and care about don't have to worry about it. Someone has to do it. I don't want my family, my loved ones, and my close friends to have to do what I do, so I'm going to go and do it. And as a public servant, that means a ton to me. I'm a proud correctional officer. I'm a proud correctional employee. Public service. I'm a proud public servant. That's a value. Working to serve a community of people that you love has value. Doing something for those people that other people aren't willing to do has value.
So when you do that, you hear reports about police and trauma and depression and alcoholism and affairs. You hear all that shit, but you don't really hear those reports coming out of the prison the same. Wow. So I'd imagine that these guys are going through all the same depression, trauma, isolation because they can't talk about it with other people.
Absolutely 100%. Except the attention isn't there. And so that's one of the things that I worry about the people that I work with and the people in my charge and that hold me in their charge is they aren't getting that, and there's a lack of positive coping mechanisms. And try for a winter to go into work when it's dark, into a place with limited to no windows, and come out when it's dark. Yeah. And do that 6 days a week. It's that's going to weigh on the mind. You want to talk about seasonal blues. You don't see the sun for months at a time. It weighs on people, which kind of lent me into another influential part of my life as I am developing as an officer. I'm going into some areas that are less desirable with other people. People start gravitating towards me. I notice young men coming to me for pep talks, for a little bit of motivation, for a little bit of inspiration, down on themselves, need a ear to listen to. And I value that, because as a leader in that environment, when your guys are coming to you, it means they trust you. Yeah. They either trust you're going to give them sound advice and guidance, or they're going to trust you're going to come and help them. The minute you stop getting those calls, there's something wrong. And so I really valued that, and I started to be observant. I started to take a look at the situations people are in. I started to build confidence in people. Just simple things like, I remember having an influential conversation with somebody who is in a high-ranking position right now, which I'm just going to leave the name and the position out of it. But I remember they were one of the people who was influential in me being moving to management and getting to be a sergeant. One of my best friends today, somebody that I have literally trusted my life with, that I wouldn't second guess about trusting my life with them again. Somebody I hold in very high regard. I remember having a conversation with him while he was on his way home, and he was ready to give up. He was so frustrated. He'd been in the business so long. A couple things that cause internal resistance towards the organization, maybe towards the job. And I watched this guy with an insurmountable amount of experience, just somebody who is so influential to me, beating themselves up, sitting in an office with a lack of value, talking to me about how I'm fucking done. I just ain't doing it anymore. And I thought, my God, I took the time. I talked to him on the way home. I'm like, look at look at what you are doing. Look at the value you have. Look at the influence you have on your environment and the people around you. I wouldn't be who I am today without you. Don't give that up. Like, your potential is limitless. And it's like one of the first times I saw real potential in somebody that I looked up to and wanted to flush it out of them. You know, and me and this individual, I was just on a call with him the other week. We were kind of laughing at where we were and what the conversation was, and seeing where he is now and the position he's gone into, the leadership role he holds, the amount of people in his charge. And I thought, man, we don't have that conversation. Where's that guy today? Where are all the people that he's positively affected the trajectory of their lives? Where is that? And so it's conversations like that that led me down this leadership path. Because, you know, as a little boy, you like superpowers, right? Superheroes. Yeah. So they're these people that you look up to. It's like you're a young man, you're 10 years old, you're running through tree houses, you're trying to be people. You got the Christmas wrapping paper sword in your hand. You got the broken broom handle. You're swinging it like you're a superhero. You know, so from a kid, desperately seeking this superpower. You know, what is mine? What happens if I had one? What would it be? I'll tell you what, leadership and positively affecting the trajectory of another human being's life is as close to a superpower as I have ever found in my life. And so that's what led me down this path.
And a lot of that too is like, if it's just one person, right? Like, you don't have to have, you know, there's some people that can deal with it on their own, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. So then you go, so you're dealing with this, like, and I guess too, you know, when you see, you know, as somebody that you're looking up to and you're having a positive impact on them, like, you know, there's points in our career, even in mine, and I would be like, shit, I'm good, you know, and then you kind of realize that, hey, maybe there's something here, or maybe you're meant for this, right? It's that kind of reinforcement. You've always kind of been like that, in my opinion. You just didn't know where to direct it.
100%.
So if
100%.
you
get goosebumps, you say that.
Yeah. So
Fires me up, man.
So like up. with the, I'm gonna get away from the prison stuff a second, but I just kind of wanted to go like you can decide if you want to tell this or not. But is there a story that you can remember where, you know, someone does it? Like, does that happen where prison guards, they get assaulted and they die, or they get in the hospitals, or they never come back, or like, is there any stuff that you've had that with you that's been like, holy shit, this is really serious stuff? Like, or any incidents with inmates, like, I don't need names, but is there anything that's kind of like, holy shit? I just want to give people the cold reality of the prison system. And we've been like, you've talked about, you know, day in and day out, nobody's coming to pat you on the back, you know, limited son.
That's not true. We pat each other on the back.
Well, you do that now. You do that
teams.
now, but it's lacking, right? Right. It's just a big part of your goal.
That positive feedback loop isn't always there inside of corrections unless you create it for yourself, and that's a big part of the mission.
It's like any team.
And are there incidents inside a jail where, the first day when I walked into a maximum security prison and I was handed keys to a unit, and there were at that time 15 guys on the other side of the wall, up into standing on the other side, walking in alone and having 35 guys. It gets serious real quick. And that's why I invested in myself. You know, I had already had boxing, a little bit of confidence, because it takes confidence to make those decisions. It takes a lot of confidence just not to piss your pants. Walking into a unit, we don't have protection. We don't have guns. You have a can of OC this big. You have a set of cuffs, and you have 30 plus of our province's most heinous individuals on the other side looking to take advantage of you in any way, shape, or form. You're just trying to do a job. I'm trying to go home to my family, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go home to my family. I'm young. Now, I'm a lot older than a lot of the people in your charge. People start this job young, and it's dangerous, man. It's not, you know, there's no mixing. It's a dangerous job. The people that do it are exceptional human beings, have the utmost respect in anybody who carries keys inside of any of our institutions. I could rhyme you through countless. It gets real right away.
And there's times where you're sitting there, behind the bars, but and something's happening to another inmate, you couldn't jump in for your own safety.
No,
like there's shit that you see that, like, you've got a protocol, you've got to follow protocol. And by the time,
I've never stood on the other side of the bars and not gone in. Now, there are protocols in terms of when tactical teams get activated, but I'm on that group.
Yeah.
The thing is that your job is to keep people safe. You have to interject. You can't stop and watch. So
that's it.
You're going.
People
need a guy to follow. It's scary, man. One story that I'll tell you where I really realized that I wasn't alone and that people needed it. A little bit established into my career, pretty comfortable in the institution, had developed a reputation and a name for myself that was a good one, I think. Obviously, reputation isn't something you speak to for yourself, so I let other people do that for me.
Yeah.
But people were coming to me for respect, and I remember standing in a line outside of an elevator with a young man, and he shook my hand. He said, "Sir, I just want to take this opportunity to let you know how proud I am to serve with you." And I was like, "Oh my God." He's like, "I'm really excited to do this with you. I'm really excited to be a part of this." And I looked back at him. I said, "Well, my knees are clacking."
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited too, but let's save it for after, because I don't know about you, but I need to be switched on right now. Let's go.
Yeah.
You come with me. We do this thing. Afterwards, he came to me and he's like, talking about, "Your knees were clacking?" I'm like, "Buddy, I am scared every time I walk through a door in prison. Every single time. If these pants weren't so baggy, you'd probably hear my knees chattering beneath me. But we got to go." That's what this job is courage. Is having fear, recognizing fear, and doing it anyway. And I was like, a moment where I'm like, God, man, everybody's scared. Like, I have a very specific set of tools at this point in my career, because after boxing, I got into jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu is a lifesaver. It is you want to talk about superpowers right underneath leadership, jiu-jitsu's sitting right there.
Do they have a rec for that in the prison system?
Not for jiu-jitsu, but we have a defensive tactics program.
Yeah.
I was a defensive tactics instructor.
But how is that comparatively?
You can only provide officers with so much training.
Yeah.
You can only provide them with so many techniques, and techniques have to be approved. And so I really valued that position as well, to be able to go in and spread some knowledge and allow officers a couple quick tools, man.
Yeah.
You don't need to be Bruce Lee. You need to be able to control a body and keep yourself safe and keep the other person safe. And jiu-jitsu, it does that. It builds so much more. And that's, again, going into like Garden Warrior leadership and part of that. But I thought about, I constantly reflect on my way home from a tough day. I'd be thinking about the position I'm in, and I'm always thinking about the guys in my charge, the women in my charge, the people who are there with me, and the judgment. People fear judgment like crazy. And we're so hard on each other, man. Not just on each other, but on ourselves. When I went in with just 30, 20, 10, 5 scared people, and nobody told them everything was going to be okay.
Yeah.
And nobody told them, like, "Hey, come with me. Like, you're better than this. Let's go. We're going to stay safe. We're going to take care of everybody. We're going to take care of the job. And then we're going to go home to our family, and we're going to be blessed and grateful when we get there, because we understand what we did today as public servants." And like building that confidence inside of people and recognizing that is just,
it sounds more
big.
like hearing it now, it sounds more like it's a military operation.
Well, it's a paramilitary organization,
right?
Yeah.
And I think I think most people should know that. Like, I told you I had a football coach, Dan Cox, and he was a correctional officer, and like, he never really went into certain stories, but he was always pretty clear that, like, you don't want to be in there. Like, you don't want to be in there. And I always felt like we had his son play football, but I always felt he needed something else after, being at the prison all day, which has come to help with organized football. And he enjoyed it. And even him and I to this day, I've sold family farms and houses for both the kids and all that stuff. And so we did have this, we built this trusting relationship, but like, he was hard. He was like, I just, it wasn't anything specific. He was just locked in, and he wouldn't give you more than what you needed to hear.
You have to be, it's bred into you to be locked in.
Yeah.
Because not that you don't want to say anything, but you become very careful with your words. You become economical, because in jail, one wrong word at the wrong time can shift the entire complexion of an environment or a situation. So you become very careful about the way you speak, how you treat words, the way you interact with people. You're constantly looking over your shoulder. You're constantly looking behind your back. You're constantly, you develop this trust issue with human beings. And it's one of the things that I urge people to do, one of the pillars for leadership: personal, professional, community. Community involvement is so friggin' important. Yeah. And I have used community involvement through coaching and through martial arts to continue to remind myself human beings are good. They are loving. They are caring.
Yeah.
They are starving for attention and potential to be flushed out of them, to be given to them. People want to succeed. People are good. And it's that connection with my community that has allowed me to stay positive, that has allowed me to see the benefit of what I'm doing, because all of my experience, everything that I have garnered, everything that I have obtained, all of the knowledge, it's weird to say wisdom because I just don't,
Yeah, because you don't have it.
You don't. Well, it's like it's like jujitsu. And we say this all the time. It's like the closer you get to black belt, the more you realize you have no clue.
Yeah.
It's just like life. The more you travel through this journey, the more you realize you got things figured out for like 5 seconds, and someone says anything, and you're like,
well, and it is. It's like, like, it's funny because, like, I mean, that industry is like, it's a world in itself. You go in those doors, you shut it, and that's it. And people don't really know what's going on in there. But like, you think about taking trauma home, you're dealing with like rapists and murderers, and I always, like, when I deal with somebody difficult, okay, and I mean, there's no parallels between the industries, but like when I deal with somebody difficult or somebody that's really, really draining, we always tell people here at the office, especially our agents, like, don't let, one, like, because people are like, this fucking job, or, oh God. And I'm like, don't let one incident ruin your faith in humanity. Just because this person's an asshole, there's a lot of good people out there, and that's the flip side to ours, which keeps you going. Like, mentally, I think mentally anybody could use a coach, and I think coaching is something that I have one, and I think it's something that everybody needs. Yeah. I like, you could have a coach just for everyday stuff.
That's literally what I do for a living, is to just help and guide people with a little bit of knowledge and wisdom I have in giving and receiving feedback, dealing with difficult conversations, developing emotional intelligence, and the self-awareness needed to cultivate this belief in yourself, and the self-efficacy, and the ability to deal with difficult situations and come out the other side.
Yeah.
To make the choice, to control your perspective. Perspective is something that nobody can take from you.
Yeah.
It's something that you are in 100% control of. You always get to make a choice. And I think that's a big part of why I do what I do, is because I felt that value, to go back to that point we made about feeling value in officers having purpose and needing something else. So who you are isn't what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Who you are makes you good at what you do. But whether you are taking out the trash, you are a homeless person on the side of the road, you are the CEO or CFO of a multi-billion-dollar company, it's who you are makes you good. And that's what leadership is. Leadership isn't about rank and title.
Yeah.
It's not about being above other people. It's about influence. And we need leaders at every single level. It's a mindset. It's not a position. Yeah. And that mindset creates value for people. understanding that when you are done doing what it is you are so good at, the next thing you decide to do, you are going to bring an equal amount of valuable to that space.
And it's hard for people to turn that off. It really is.
It's
right?
hard for me to turn it off.
Yeah. So, okay. So like, let's go to, you like that pivot? I just pivoted right out of that.
Pivot and adjust, my man. Let's go.
All right. So listen, okay. So I guess I got a couple questions for you. You've mentioned, leadership. Okay. Like, what is it about the leadership that attracts you? Right. Like, what specifically, like, yes, you had some guy, shake your hand, sir, I'm happy to serve with you. Yeah, that's a huge ego boost, right? But like, what is it that attracts you? Like, it's not just in the prison system. If you're coaching athletes,
yeah.
right? You're in the prison system, whether it's football, coaching, like, what is it?
It's the ability to positively influence the trajectory of a human being's life.
And is that is that a quote on your website?
No, that's
okay,
just
good.
who
Okay,
I am.
good.
That's just
making sure.
that's
It
just
sounded pretty
that's
good.
that's just who I am.
Okay.
When you feel it,
yeah,
and when you believe it, it is. I honestly don't feel like it's. I don't feel like I found leadership. I feel like leadership found me. I feel like it's something I am doing regardless. It is a mission. It is to be able to assist. Life is friggin' tough, man. It's not easy. We spend a lot of time beating ourselves up. When I look at people, I see their potential. I see what they could be. I see what's inside of them. I want to help them. I want to help them flesh that out. I want to help them change their perspective. I want to give them an opportunity to see life through a different lens, and a positive one that makes it just a little bit easier. And coaching and teaching, I can remember maybe 3 teachers in my life. Now, I have the utmost respect for academia and what education provides. But I can remember almost every single coach I had.
Yeah.
Because that's where lessons were learned. And I think about some of the lessons I learned from some of the people in my life. And I thought, man, like, I think about them all the time. And to be able to do that for somebody else, to change their perspective, to make things a little bit lighter. So what greater gift does life give you?
But it's not so much the motivation. It's like there's no keys that you use, right? Like there's no acronym or anything like that you're using, is there?
Tons of acronyms. Okay. Frameworks are a big deal because people have to find ones that work for them.
But you're essentially, what you're doing is you're not like, hey, it's not like you got to go and kick ass every single day. You're teaching them to be confident within their own skin.
Yes.
Okay. But you're teaching them to separate, what they do versus who they are. And then, like we have a thing here that's like, doing the right thing is always the right thing. It doesn't matter the situation.
100%.
So it's just
integrity.
So it's just kind of finding that grounding and then going for it. It's not like, but I mean, like, so if you're coaching athletes, when they have to be the best, like the mental acuity of an athlete, to me is probably one of the strongest, where they have to, like, when you talk about believing it, they have to believe it. And fathers have to believe it too. Like, you see a lot on social media where we're seeing, like, superhuman fathers or whatever they are, but the fathers'
toughest job in the world.
It is, but those fathers have to believe it. It's like, do I want to come home and have a bourbon, or a glass of tequila, or do I want to go out and throw the baseball in the backyard? You have to make that decision, right? And it can't be, all the other dads are in the garage having beers. That might not work for you, and you have to be confident saying, hey, I got to cash this one out because we got to go and do this, or I've got this commitment to do this. So, like, how do you go about doing that when some dad's sitting there eating fucking potato chips on his couch and he's like, Josh, I need something.
Yeah.
Joshua, I need something, like.
Well, I introduce leadership and the idea of putting the people around you in a position to succeed, and by default, you will put yourself in a position to succeed. It's this positive feedback loop. My friend says to me about jiu-jitsu, and I don't know where he got it from, but it applies directly to leadership. I'm going to shout out to Ian Clark from GS Physical Fitness. Just a wonderful human being. You want to talk about a super dad? That's the guy.
Yeah.
He's somebody I take cues from. One of my best friends. Just an outstanding human being. And the saying is, leadership is for anybody. It is just not for everybody. If you want it, if you want the mindset, you want to feel good about yourself, you want to put the people around you in a position to succeed, you want to serve, leadership is for you. And the thing is it looks different for everybody. You know, like you say, listen, a high performing athlete, and this is one of, not to jump around too much, but this is one of the advantages I have of just this. I have no idea what it is or who decided that I was going to get to be surrounded by these individuals. But for my entire life, from family to friends to colleagues to mentors, I have been surrounded by people who excel at the space they are in. And it's one thing that really highlighted to me that leadership is in all shapes and sizes. I dealt with law enforcement agents at the highest level, dealing with the highest performers, dealing with military people who come into corrections and have performed at the highest level. Athletes in terms of combat athletes, you know, like Sarah Bailey, three-time WBA super flyweight champion of the world, the fastest ever Canadian to be a world champion in boxing.
Yeah, I was reading that. Like 4 fights or 5 fights or something.
She excels at a level that is understandable to very few people on this planet. She is in the top percentile of the top percentile of human being. And on September 20th, at the Hard Rock Casino and Hotel in Ottawa, she will be defending and unifying the WBO, IBA.
We're going to be there, Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
And WBA world titles against Bermudez. Watch it. She's going to be there. She's going to carry our country on her back like she has many times.
So break that down.
Let me come back to that. Operating with those people. Her coach, Stephen Bailey, a mastermind. The single greatest boxing mind, in my opinion, that our country has ever had. Elevating the sport at levels that are unheard of. Just an absolute genius of combat. Watching these people operate, and then watching people in a community level who hold just as much value as those individuals, because it's not what those people are doing that makes them them, it's who they are.
That's right.
It's the athlete mindset. That's who they are. This young lady, Sarah Bailey, probably going on, I guess, 10 years plus, probably closer to 15. I guess she came over a couple years in to our gym, had the opportunity to meet her. I have never seen her miss a day in the gym. I watch people around her. You can't make excuses around this young lady.
Yeah.
She is the embodiment of professionalism and athletics.
Is that a book, The Athlete Mindset?
No, but it should be.
That should be your next book.
It should be. It is, you know, and then breaking all these people down. Pat Pitlick.
MMA, right?
175 pounds, MMA, contender series, perennial champion in Canada. The adversity, the mental toughness, the kindness and generosity, the work ethic of this individual is second to nobody. And then I look at dads in our community, coaches for free.
Yeah.
Soccer coaches, football coaches, baseball coaches, all hold the same value. They're so important to everybody. We need leaders at every position. People often look to these individuals who hold a high rank or a high title. And what I have come to learn is that it's not that title, it's not that role that makes them them. I get to personally understand them, enjoy them, and see that, oh, this is just who you are. It doesn't matter if you are, you know, flipping burgers at McDonald's. It doesn't matter if you are a world champion, if you are an elite level coach, again, or if you are CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company. It's who you are. It makes you successful. And when I can bring that attitude and break it down to the dad who's hustling, man, the mom, the single mom out getting groceries, running kids around to 3 people. I have huge shout out to my better half and partner in life, Katie. She is an amazing human being, hustling around, high performing job, high stress environment, 4 kids, all competitive athletes in sports. We are professional amateur sports fans traveling around our country. Yeah. When I look at that hustle and I see those people being hard on themselves, beating themselves up, not finding value, it just kills me.
Yeah.
And so,
but you see it every day.
See it every day. And that's what draws me to leadership. Real long answer short. The ability to flush out somebody's potential, to have them change their perspective, to make life a little bit lighter, to see how hard they're working and the value they provide to the people around them. There is no greater gift.
Yeah.
And one of the simplest things that I do for people is I change one word in their vernacular. Funny enough, I heard this from Steve Harvey on Family Feud, and it completely changed the way I look at everything. Change one word in your vernacular from have to get to.
Yeah.
And so when I'm talking to dads, I'm talking to moms, I'm talking to community leaders, I'm talking to professional leaders, I'm talking to people at the highest level, just understand you get to do this. No, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
When you're up late at night and you're putting together that piece of IKEA furniture and all you want to do is go to bed, it's all you want to do. And you're pissed off because you went to IKEA and the IKEA was friggin' packed and then you forgot your debit card. So you had to use your credit card. You're sweating. It's a long day of work. You go home, you cooking dinner, you're hustling, you go to soccer practice, you come back, everyone else goes to bed and you go up to a room and you go to put together that 475 piece dresser that's going to hold clothes and you're pissed off. You're starting to slam things. You're like, I don't want to do this, but I got to, I have to. No, you get to.
Yeah.
Because you have a healthy, beautiful young child there to build that for. And that's that changes everything. That changes everything about the way you do everything.
And I think that mindset too, it's hot in here. We're going to start fighting. I think that mindset too, it trickles down, right? And it trickles down to the kids and the attitude trickles down to the kids, right?
Environment.
Yeah.
It's huge. Psychology is more contagious than the flu.
But you have, I always look at that and kind of wonder because you always have that old story, right? You got an alcoholic father and one kid never drinks because his dad was an alcoholic and the other kid becomes an alcoholic because his dad was an alcoholic, right? So environment, but your mindset can take you out of that, right?
Yeah, and environment is a foundation of building a mindset. And I'll tell you that the 2 environments that I have seen that exasperated at the highest level is jail.
Yeah.
And a martial arts gym.
Really?
You take the worst inmate, the biggest trouble causer. You put him in a different environment where he doesn't have to watch his back, where he doesn't have to be that guy, where he doesn't feel like he's being attacked, where he doesn't feel like he's constantly on guard. Watch him flourish in a different environment, completely different human being. And just takes somebody to communicate, to physically change their environment. Teens, dads, moms, kids, martial arts gym. Somebody struggling with something on the outside, bring them here.
Yeah.
We're going to create this environment and we're going to remove 3 things from that environment. You want to watch your people flourish? Remove 3 things. Fear of judgment, fear of being right and wrong, fear of social and physical reprisal. You remove those 3 things from a human being and watch them reach a level of potential and success in however that looks like you have never even dreamt about doing that. And that's what those environments do for people.
And I like that. I think that, even for me, I used to cause a lot of shit, but once I started playing football, right? Once I started playing football, you can control it because it's something you want to do. It's the same as martial arts. Like if I have a son who's acting out or physically getting in fights, most people would be like, well, why would you turn them to martial arts? Because it's just going to get worse. To me, I don't see that. I see that it's more strict, and I see that they're dependent on something else in the routine, and I look at that like it's like we say it controlled aggression, right?
100%. It's martial arts doesn't create bullies.
Yeah.
it creates people who are against bullying, because the minute you understand that there's consequences and you know so little about fighting, you never catch a fighter going out on the street and getting into a fight, because they understand what can happen. They also understand that when I meet you on the street, you're a pretty big guy. Well, where do you train? I know nothing about you. Why would I ever start a fight on the outside or bully you? You know what I mean? Because you understand there's consequences there, and it's that environment where there's consequence.
You can handle yourself too. Like, I think if you're a semi-pro professional boxer, or even if you just train, right? The advantage that you have to somebody on the outside that doesn't do that, and I think that has the confidence there. Like, you don't need to go and kick someone's ass. In your head, like, listen, if this ever went down, it wouldn't be good for the other person. But you have to have that. It's the ego mixed with your confidence, right? Like, it almost has to like.
Yeah, like it's interesting because when I first got into corrections, when I first got into boxing, I'm not a skilled individual. Stuff didn't come easy to me. Being prepared, being trained, it didn't come easy to me.
No, you're a hard worker.
I'm hard worker. I'm head down.
Yeah.
I'm a bulldog.
You are.
I'm just going to keep coming, and I'm going to keep coming. I'm going to keep coming. And so this mentality I had in jail was, I'm going to be a long day for everybody. I'm not saying I'm going to come out on top. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but
just got to go.
I'm going to go, and I'm going to be a long day. At the end of the day, if push comes to shove, you might get the better of me, but you're going to remember it.
Yeah.
Because I don't go away.
So,
and
it's, go ahead.
It's interesting, that mentality, that ego, where that brought me to, and I mean outside of my family, my kids, my better half, my immediate family. There is nothing more important to me than them. I'm so damn proud of them. Watch them succeed and excel on a daily. Our kids are 10 times the human being that I ever dreamed of becoming at that age. It's like such a beautiful damn thing to see, especially being a stepfather as well. Just being in a position where I can observe, and it is a privilege to be a part of their lives, is something that provides me more motivation than anything else. So when you talk about influence, they are easily my most influential circle. But moments in my life, dealing with that ego, dealing with consequence, walking into jujitsu and telling them I was a competitive boxer, and having them go, "Oh yeah, come on in, come on in here." Then having them choke me out 30 times in the span of 45 minutes. And while sitting in my car, windows down, just like those memes, windows down, hands on the bottom of my steering wheel, every friggin' window open, no music on, driving home going, well, that can never happen again. Like, that can't happen. And then the confidence you build there along that path, while I was in the midst of, I was firing on all cylinders, man. It was a point in my life that half of me is so proud of, half of me is so disappointed in, because it was the time in my life where I realized I was having trouble taking the work hat off when I got home. I was operating at a 12 out of 10 all day, every day, because I needed to keep me and myself and the people in my charge safe at work. And if people who I have worked with are listening to this, that 12 out of 10 is probably a 15 out of 10. Like, I didn't go anywhere or do anything without being switched on. I was who I was, that guy. So, training jiu-jitsu, I have that mentality. I didn't go easy on anybody, because when we rolled, or when we sparred, in the back of my head, I was thinking, if I lose here, I can lose there. And if I can lose there, I might be dead. And I took that mentality into everything. I'm going to talk about this one last thing. This guy came into my life. One of my best friends said, "Have you met this mindfulness guy?"
Who?
His name's Mindful Mike. Okay. Mindful Mike Massey. I love you. It's my best friend. As a stud, it should be on his birth certificate. The guy's a stud. It's actually a conversation that you would enjoy having him come in here. Guys, 12 out of 10. Again, him and Ian, my two best friends, couldn't ask for better guys. He walked in a time of my life where, like, I didn't hug anybody. Like, you didn't get underhooks. Like, I didn't let Kate have underhooks in a hug. I certainly wasn't letting another man
Yeah.
you know? And so he walks in the door. My buddy didn't even say anything when he walked in. I walked right up to him for zero fucking reason at all. And the guy just hugged me, said, "Hey, what's going on, man? Nice to meet you." And I was like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And then the other half of me was like, there you are.
Yeah.
Oh, like we're supposed to be, like immediately became my best friend. And the introduction of mindfulness and what I practice now in combination with leadership was a massive shift in the trajectory of my life. And it's mindfulness that has allowed me to cultivate and exercise this, and exercise my mind and build strength up here to give me the self-awareness to keep that ego and those other things in check.
So, okay, so what do you tell, like you talked, like there's a theme here. You've mentioned purpose, four times throughout this conversation, okay? So what do you tell people who, for a father and a family man, like purpose is easy. It's easy to find that, right? Like your kids, your wife, like your family, like people get that. What do you say to these, like the young boxers or everybody's trying to find purpose? Like when I was younger, I'd be like, purpose was like, making money and going out and spending it at the bar, right? Like what's the purpose for somebody that doesn't have that stuff yet? And how do you build that?
We talk about developing yourself, learning and growing. Introduce that stoic mentality of everything in life is an opportunity to learn and grow. Experience is king. We want, it's a little bit of a different thing with people who walk into a martial arts gym, because right there, the minute you walk through, you've identified to me that you are looking for something that you don't have, and you want to improve and grow, and you want to learn. It's two hardest things about walking into a martial arts gym. I don't care if it's Muay Thai, boxing, jiu-jitsu, whatever it is you practice. Okay? Second hardest thing is walking in the first time.
Yeah.
Is that, man, it is so hard to do. When people do that right away, welcome them in. Remove those three things. Talk about the environment. Happy to have you. And you want to make it as warm and welcoming as possible, because for the next hour, things are going to get real tough.
Yeah.
First hardest thing to do in a martial arts gym is walk through a second time.
Yeah.
And when an individual has the efficacy in themselves, the belief in themselves, to bring themselves through that door a second time, I've identified with them that, they're in search of something. And those people are easy to motivate. Those people are easy to inspire because they're already looking for it. For people who don't have that, and you say it's easy as a father. I would challenge that only because that's who you are. You don't know any different. I can see it in your eyes and your face right now. That's something that sets you apart, and your kids are blessed to have you as a father, and your wife is blessed to have you as a husband, as a role model and a leader, because that is who you are. You can't imagine life not having value in that role. And that's one of the things that when you start to look around, you realize that people are hurting, man. People are struggling to find that purpose and that value. And all I do is I point out things they're already doing. I let them see things from a different light. I change their perspective. There's two things in life. There's the objective and there's the subjective. Objective is the variable you cannot shift. It's the things that happen in life. The three of us, we're going to travel through this journey, and bad things are going to happen that are outside of our control. We can't do anything about it. Subject is how you look at it.
That's right.
Subjective is your choice. You have 100% control on how you look at something. Whether it be a struggle, a barrier, a difficult thing in your life, you have a choice to control it, and nobody can take that away from you. All I do is I go in and I assist people in controlling that perspective.
Yeah.
Seeing that, if I was to ask you, is the glass half full or half empty?
You're asking me now?
Yeah.
I would say it's half full.
Subjective.
Yeah.
I once was asked that question by somebody. I answered the exact same way to you. I turned around and I asked them. They said, I'm just happy to have a glass to drink water from.
Yeah.
There's a glass on the table that is half full of water. Whereas how you look at it is your choice. Objective, a glass with water in it. Subjective, is it half full or half empty? And you don't need to look at anything because anybody else says you do. And that's like part of mindfulness and building emotional intelligence and a belief in yourself and self-awareness. It gives you the ability to travel through the world and make your own decisions for yourself and be proud of them, and not subject yourself to the judgment and social reprisal that so many people suffer from, wondering what people are thinking about them, how this is going to look, how this is going to look. Listen, at the end of the day, you get to control what it is for you.
That's right.
You know, and I think that's super important. And I think that that ties back into what I was saying earlier. Another great piece of advice I got from Mike. So two things in this life you're going to do. You're going to create a story. You're going to use it to make yourself better. You know, and that really hit home for me, because that turned every difficulty I've had, every struggle, every story I told myself is an opportunity to learn and grow.
Yeah. When
you do that, the flip side of it is friggin' be kind to yourself, man. You know, like, people are so hard on themselves, especially high-performing individuals in their spaces. You're a high-performing athlete. You're an exceptional young man. You know, you were somebody that when we were younger, a guy like me looked at a guy like you and I looked up to you. My God, that guy's got it. Mm-hmm. You know, the gift of gab, surrounded by friends all the time. You performed at an exceptional level at everything you did. Football, rugby, that belief in yourself. You know what I mean? When I look at that, people will turn inward and they start comparing.
Yeah.
You know, and they're hard on themselves. You as that person, I guarantee you're hard on yourself.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we look at each other. I don't think we look, like we're always, to me, there's always something. There's always something that needs to be done. And we've been rationalizing that over the last few days with our stuff here. Just like, people look at you one way, and I'm always like, okay, like, we want to get here. Like, we're here, we want to be here.
Yep.
Right? Or we want to be here. But the whole idea is, you have to have that humility as well, right?
Big time. See huge vulnerability, humility.
Yeah.
Massive parts of developing emotional intelligence. And the other half of it is just be kind to yourself while you're doing it. Don't beat yourself up. You don't have to sit in the suffering of making a mistake.
Yeah.
You actually have the power to use that to to contribute to your environment, to make you a better human, and because of that, make the humans around you better people. And again, it's this positive feedback where everything works together.
And that's where leadership comes in too, right? Leadership comes in from doing it. So if you're, you quit taking the beer in the garage and you start running around the block, the next thing you know, you open up the door and somebody else wants to do that, or somebody else like, hey, look at Josh, he's running around the block, what an idiot. And then all of a sudden, a couple of weeks later, look at Josh, he's still doing it. And then look at Josh, now he's lost X amount of weight. And then all of a sudden now everybody's saying, hey, look at him. Like the mentality changes the more work you do. So leadership is done by not just preaching, right? It's done by you doing it.
You lead from the front.
So
I think that's like, man, psychology is more contagious than the flu.
Yeah.
I couldn't say that enough. Like-minded people. That's why it's so important with the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's who, show me the 5 people you spend the most time with, and I'll show you your future.
Yeah. Right. So tell me this. So how are we at for time?
Hour and 26.
Perfect. Huh. All right. This goes quick, my friend. Let's jump into GWL, okay? And then let's talk about that. You had mentioned your colleague Stevie Bailey, and it's his wife, I assume, or his.
Yep.
Okay. Let's just talk about GWL. Like, what is it? I mean, I know we talked about the leadership portion of it, but like, can somebody get do you advertise just for the common man? Is it companies? And then how does Stevie fall into that as well? And then how would somebody get a hold of you too? Like, and I'd also like you to get back to the athletes, because I assume that your techniques with the athletes probably a little bit different than your common man. So let's just jump just GWL.
Let me take a piss.
Fucking guy. Just you still got that problem.
I'm gonna stretch my legs quick.
Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna take a piss too. Okay. We're gonna take a break. I didn't say you could piss, Kyle.
Thanks.
Yeah, like it is interesting because I do find like, you know, there's so much like, you know, social media for one, like consumption, like we always talk about that, like, you know, we're consuming so much content and for us, I'm always like, okay, I'd rather produce it than consume it, which is why we're here.
Yeah.
But you do see a lot of dads, like I guess that's right, you know, if you're just because you have a family doesn't necessarily mean you know your purpose, you know, like you got dads who are like, you're right, struggling. They come home,
bro.
they drink, they eat, they feel like shit, keeps on going. They do what they have to, but they're not really there.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, it's difficult with the parent type because how you know you're doing a good job?
You don't.
Fuck.
Like the more we become a parent, the more we really know that our parents didn't know.
Right.
Right.
100%.
You know.
And it changes the way you do things. And again, when things happen, like nobody ever tells you you're doing a good job.
No.
You're constantly wondering, and you're just so damn busy putting things together, keeping the fucking wheels on the track, that you don't even have time to look up and evaluate. And oftentimes you avoid looking up and evaluating because you're afraid of what you're going to see.
Yeah.
You know, and that's difficult. That's difficult as a parent. And I always say this, you know, like, how interesting is it that as a parent, like your whole purpose and energy, everything you have is to create and help cultivate this good little human.
Yeah.
You know, and put them in a position to be successful. You want to like exercise compassion at the highest level, which is just, like your kid stubs your toe.
Yeah.
The empathy portion of it is, God, I know what it feels like to stub your toe. The compassion portion of it is you just want to take them and you want to hug them and you want to make it better. You want to take that feeling away from them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as a father, your whole mission is to contribute and shape and help cultivate this good little human. And isn't it ironic that the entire time you spend your time trying to shape another human, it is actually kids who raise good parents?
Yeah.
How many times you have made a decision based on your parenting, you're like, oh, I can't do that. Kids have a funny way of just being 100% authentically truthful with you.
Yeah. And they shape you. Right?
Yeah. They give you pieces of information that they're so delicate about it.
Yeah.
You know, they're so easy because they look at you and they're like, you know, say a dad's smoking, gets caught cigarettes. They're not like, you know, your buddy be like, hey, you fucking bum. You got 3 kids. What are you doing? You're like 40 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're smoking cigarettes. You drink. What are you doing? Man, fucking clean it up. And the reaction to that is like, you turn inward, you shy away from it, you beat yourself up for a bit, you probably dive a little bit deeper down to the negative coping mechanisms. Yeah. Every once in a while you find a guy that finds his way out, uses it. But when your kid looks at you, and they reach across the table and they go, Dad, like, I'm worried about you. They say smoking kills. What? Like, you're a fat dad. You're like, I'm worried about you.
Are you
it's like
stinky
this,
butt?
It's this, you're like, you smell, Dad. You know, and it's this like tenderness and generosity that you're like, oh fuck.
And I think
change these things.
And I think a lot of people don't realize they watch you more. Like the kids watch you all the time. So like, you know, it's your attitude that really shapes that too, right? And it is difficult. Like I like that's one thing for me that I've kind of learned is that like, you know, even with drinking, right? Like, I mean, you know, I love the party.
Yeah.
You know, but I dull that down because in my head I'm like, do I always want my kids, you know, when he looks back at being at the cottage or when he looks back about me being home, I've got, you know, you always got a beer in your hand or something like that. So like it's, you know, to me, I'm cautious of that now more than ever. And I haven't really perfected that. Right. But I, you know,
good luck,
call me crazy.
Yeah.
So let's jump into it. So let's jump into GWL. Tell me what it is. Tell me what, like,
that's a big, what we're talking about is a big part about it. Garden Warrior Leadership.
Okay.
And the
sort of website,
the essence, GWleadership.ca. I'm for everybody and anybody
Okay.
who wants to improve. You want to tackle things like having difficult conversation, giving and receiving feedback, developing emotional intelligence, physical fitness, a mindset thing for inspiration if you have. I just want to bring this mindset to as many people as possible because it's like a mathematical equation. It works. It has worked since the beginning of time. Leadership, for making people feel valued, for putting people in a position to succeed, and vice versa, putting the people around you in a position to succeed. And at the end of the day, that is leadership. That is leadership, is putting the people around you on a pedestal, watching them succeed and developing their potential. So
how does it work? If I hire, like, let's say I hire you,
you
or
want
a company
to,
hires you.
depends on what you want to do.
How does that work?
I do a couple different things. I come in and I public speak,
Yeah.
depending on to groups of people, teenagers, adults, organizations, or do one-on-one leadership training.
Okay.
And that is just, we meet for one-on-one. I help you work through some issues. We talk. We start looking about who you are, not what you do, help you flesh out some of the things. But I have the easiest job in the world, man, because it's always already in the people. All I want to do is sit down and let them know, like, hey, you have this inside of you.
Okay.
And these are the things that you're doing that show me that you have these things inside of you. And these are things we can do to help put one foot in front of the other and put you in a position to succeed.
So do you have those, like, do you have like a seminar that you do yearly, quarterly, or does a company hire you to come in?
Company will hire me to come in and do a group event.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, the combination of boxing, martial arts, jiu-jitsu, and leadership work really well together. When I come in and I do in a company and people find out, oh, you're a boxing coach. And so that's part of the academy, is a part of GWL, is a small private training facility that I use to train my competitive team, a group of young men. Shout out to all of them for all the hard work they put in.
What is that?
I'll get to that. So the academy is a private training facility that oftentimes groups and businesses find out I'm a boxing coach. They want to do something a little bit different. They want to challenge themselves, which is a great opportunity for a team building event. Mm-hmm. So I will combine a morning of physical activity, getting the body moving, learning something new, sharing my passion for martial arts and boxing with individuals, and then tying that into a leadership team building event later, because the environments are so similar.
Okay.
Because the psychology is so similar. Every lesson I have learned inside of a martial arts gym about a deficiency I have, or a barrier I'm facing, or a gap I need to close is automatically an issue or something I need to address in the community. You know, every time I identify a weakness inside of the gym, I understand that I need to practice that weakness to make me better in the community, and sort of sharing those combined passions with people. My mission is, you know, just to help people deal, to put them in a position to succeed, to see their value, to see their potential, and to let them know that it is within them. All of those things they are thinking, dreaming, wanting to be. The only thing that is holding them back is them, you know. And so between that and the academy again is this private training facility. I will do a lot of one-to-ones. We have very few group classes.
Where is it based out of?
It's based out of Stratford.
Okay.
Stratford, Ontario. It's a small little facility. It's
Your
about
coach
1,000
Stevie
square
Bailey,
feet.
he's at Stratford or Guelph?
No, he's actually in Toronto and Etobicoke.
Okay.
We'll kind of go through how we met in that relationship, because the guy is an absolute stud. I wouldn't be where I am without that guy. That's a fact. I use it as an opportunity to train a small group of competitive athletes, because I enjoy boxing, I enjoy coaching, I like being involved with them. They keep me young, they keep me fresh, and it's just motivating to be surrounded by such inspirational young men that are doing things. I got this one kid, Luke Steele, and he's currently 1-to-1. It's too bad I came on to plug a fight, and he had one booked for this weekend, August 9th in Welland, but unfortunately opponent had an injury, and so wishing well to him. This young man,
MMA, boxing.
So the academy is a boxing
Okay.
facility, and the program started at Stratford BJJ, just with me coaching a boxing class for 8 years. it grew, it developed into sort of manifested as part of GWL. This kid, Luke Steele, is like, he's so much more responsible and so much more successful than I will ever be in life at the age of, he just turned 18.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Started a business 3 years ago, a car detailing business, 3 years ago with a grant given to him by the city. Turned it into this year. It's a full-time summer gig for him. He is a business owner. He's an entrepreneur, and he just employed his little brother, who is also an absolute stud, Josh Steele. Kid trains 6 times a week. He works as many days a week. He is involved in athletics. He raises everybody up around him. He helps me coach a teens beginner class where we bring in kids from the community, teach them something difficult. It's just amazing to watch these kids flourish and do well. And that's something that I, secretly use the academy to like give me the ability to do that.
Do they hire you? Like, how does that work? Like, do they do you I mean, it's a business, right? You charge, like, how does this work? Let's say I want you to coach me.
Yep. It depends on in which space. Do you want physical combat training? Do you want leadership training? Do you want a combination of the two?
We're far apart. I don't want combat. I want leadership.
Organization or personal. I have a set rate, private sessions where we can meet one-on-one.
Yeah.
And it's not a membership fee.
Yeah.
It's like I want you to get value out of your money. Okay. So it's a every time we meet fee. Okay. One of the biggest issues I have with gyms is there's 1,000 of them. People get locked into 4 different memberships.
Yeah.
They never end up going. And then there's a resentment built with that environment because they're monthly paying this fee. I don't want that. So everybody in my facility outside of the competitive guys who pay a little bit less for a lot more training because that's my passion and they put my logo on their back. It's a per session fee. Every group event I do is specifically tailored to the individual group. So we run a questionnaire, get an idea of what people are looking for, get an idea of how people are feeling, and then the course and the event are personally tailored to the organization. It's another qualm I have with leadership training. So I don't have a set seminar. I don't have a set team building event. I have areas of interest and things that I can speak to, but if you as the client, I need to make sure you get where you're looking, you get where you're wanting.
Yeah.
And so if I go in with a cookie cutter course
or
a cookie cutter approach, how do I know I'm landing?
Yeah.
I don't care about the money.
Yeah.
The money is an added benefit. Obviously, I need to make money to be in business. But at the end of the day, if I go out of business, I will have the same conversation with a bum on a street corner holding a glass full of change and an apple about leadership and putting himself in a position to succeed that I will have with a multi-billion-dollar business owner who has a portfolio of businesses. Wow, I have that same conversation. I'll have it for free. Super pumped to be here. Just to have an opportunity to talk about these things.
So do you do this? So if you have a company, let's just say you have a company on board and the company wants leadership training.
Yep.
Is that like so any session they have with you, they pay, but do they is it like, hey, we're going to have 4 sessions, this is going to take 6 sessions, 8 sessions, 10 sessions, or do they just do one?
One of the last groups I did, what they felt like they needed, we did a group team building day. So in the morning, we did a little bit of physical education. We put people in an uncomfortable position. Good. We put people in an environment for safe struggle. And what that means is the ability to make mistakes and be removed of judgment, fear of being right and wrong, and fear of social reprisal. People let themselves go and they express a vulnerability that's required of leadership, that is required of the environment we're going to go to in the afternoon. And then in the afternoon, this particular group talked about giving and receiving feedback and the basic principles of leadership, how they can guide you. How you can rely on some of these ideas to put you in a position to succeed, to help you make difficult decisions, whether it be high stress, high stakes, or making dinner for your kids, which for some people is high pressure and high stakes.
Yeah.
And I mean that with the most amount of sincerity. After that, I gave them X amount of one-on-one hours. So anybody on that team, including spouses that were involved, have the ability to contact me through email. We can connect electronically. That's one benefit of technology, I find, is that
it's great.
You have the ability to transcend environment, to create a small amount of distance when we are physically separated by a large one, or we can meet in person. And so we introduce these topics, and then as people identify barriers they might be having or gaps they may have in areas of improvement, or say you're going into a difficult conversation regarding performance management, our boy here isn't living up to potential, and there's some things you want to address, but at the same time you got the utmost respect for him because he's working hard, and you don't want to deter. You want to motivate and inspire, but at the same time there's like some performance things you want to address. How do we put you in a position to succeed? How do we stack the deck in your favor? What are things you can look at? Right from don't have a conversation, never have a conversation with anybody when you or them are hungry. Never have a performance management conversation before lunch. People are hungry. You're hungry. You're going to rush through it. There's like chemical reactions in your body that make this not a good idea. Right up to how do you approach it? Let's provide yourself a framework. A simple one for the point of this would be SAID. Situation, action, impact, direction.
Okay.
Approaching a difficult conversation where you're performance managing an action. You're going to describe the situation to them. Okay. You're going to talk about the action that they took. You're going to talk about the impact that action had. Then you're going to follow up with where we want to be, and you're going to provide direction. Simple little frameworks like that put you in a position to succeed as a leader, and vice versa. Because you put yourself in a position to succeed, you put the people in your charge in a position to succeed.
Yes, you're giving the feedback, the positive feedback as well.
Right. And how do I approach it? How do I start the conversation? What happens if the conversation goes sideways? Because any communication, that's great. I can stack the deck in my favor, and I can turn over 4 aces. But if you turn over a royal flush that day, doesn't matter how much I stack the deck in my favor, I'm done. You won the hand. You know what I mean? And it's not a win-loss thing, but it's the idea that you can put yourself in a position to succeed. You can still come up short. And that's okay, because you're going to learn from it. You're going to grow from it. You're going to be better for the next person or that person the next time you have a conversation.
And I think preparation isn't like we always talk about that too. Like preparation shows
Athletics.
It shows you care.
It's a beautiful thing.
And even if you don't win, you're still prepared, and you've given some value.
One of the greatest lessons that I have learned from working with combat athletes at every level. I'm talking about from your dad that goes into a jiu-jitsu tournament just to test his skills, just to feel it again. You know what I mean? Just to put himself in a position where he wonders where he stands in this world and he wants to figure it out.
He's still an athlete.
Right up to, because the mind doesn't forget.
Yeah.
Right up to the world champion who is dedicated to their craft on a daily basis. They don't go to the bathroom at anything less than a championship level.
Yeah.
That mindset, that idea, the lesson it taught me was victory is in accepting the challenge. You will never go to a fight show. You will never deal with a combat athlete that talks down to another combat athlete, because they understand victory is in showing up to the gym every day. It's in preparation. It's about getting to the ring and getting to the cage, knowing you have done everything you can to put yourself in a position to succeed. And what happens when we walk through that cage door where you step under those ring ropes, that isn't necessarily up to you.
Yeah.
What is up to you, what is inside of your control, is that preparation, is getting there. And because of that, you never watch people, it's not in the result. And that's part of being a leader. It's about the journey. Leadership is accepting the challenge and following through, building people up when you do it. And then you win and you learn. You either physically win or you learn from it. But there ain't no losses. Because every loss is an opportunity to learn and grow. And if you're learning and growing, where's the loss? You tell me. It ain't anywhere where I can see it. It's like failing. Failing doesn't exist until you cease to try. You're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you're doing this whole setup, it's wonderful. Did you do it perfect the first time? Hell no. No, you didn't. You're going to start a business, you're going to start an initiative, another one. Is it going to fail? You're going to go right back to the drawing board. You're going to, you're going to take what you learned from that and you're going to build on it and build on it and build on it. so many unbelievably successful people think they just got there.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a grind. I've been watching you grow from a distance since the time I put that sign in over there, which I didn't know what I was doing. We were just two guys trying to hustle and get better and friggin' learn from it, you know?
And we talk about that, like, I mean, we have our branded quotes, right? Reset, readjust as many times as you need.
Let's go. That fires me up. That shit right there fires me up.
And we do that, like, even, you know, the top 10 things that require zero talent, right? Showing up on time, all right? Having a positive attitude. So for us, I mean,
effort,
but effort, right? Like, but I mean, it is like, you have to, it's like, I had a coach one time and they talked about like motivation, and they say, it's like, you know, you shower every day, right? You get ready every day, you clean yourself every day. Motivation's the same thing. You got to do something every single day that keeps you motivated.
Yep.
You know, like we talk about our videos, right? If you're an agent out there and you haven't done a podcast and you want to do a podcast, or if you want to do a video, I can guarantee you one thing: your first one is going to be shit.
No, I look at guys like your videos. I look at the videos on my site. I had this young man that was talking about, Luke Steele, talking about improving the videos and taking some shots. My better half, Katie, her videos, if you look at my Instagram or her Instagram, the videos of our family, she does them for sports teams. Like, they're so good, and mine sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to play catch up so bad. But again, I surround myself with people who are good at it.
Yeah.
I surround myself who raise my game. Yeah. And that essentially is like, when you talk about garden warrior leadership in a business, it's more of a mission.
Well, yeah, it's not. I've never heard, like, I've heard coaching before, but I've never heard coaching mixed with training. And then you want, is it group? Is it a group training? Is it individual training? You know, like, and it's geared towards, like, we have real estate coaches all the time. They have business coaches all the time, right? So I think the GWL is something that's probably unique to its own. But it's a mindset. Like I look at this and I think, like, having a network of individuals who are, you know, like-minded,
right,
and that keep on pushing each other. Is like, you know, one of the things that I have with our coach is, like, you know, morning check-ins, right? So
Love
it. every morning, you know, if you're going to be up at 5, everybody's up at 5, or however that works. But, like, if you're just left on your own vices, you might be getting up at 5, you know, for 1 week or 2 weeks, and then you kind of get back into these old habits, right? So I honestly believe that you need someone to push you.
And I recognize that, you know, I completely agree. And without knowing it, I've been doing it my whole life.
Yeah.
Even, like, you know, I haven't talked to him in a long time. I have the utmost respect for him. He helped shape me to the human being I am. But Petipure was always that guy for me.
Yeah.
Man, he was that high. Everything he touched turned to gold. Man, like, put a stick in his hand, he was the best.
Yeah.
Put a ball in his hand, no problem. Put cleats on his feet, faster than everybody. He was like somebody that I idolized, and that I was constantly pushing myself to be more like.
Yeah.
And he performed at such a high level that he made me a better human being just by being around him, just by being able to call him my best friend. He improved my life at a trajectory that, you know, one day, even saying this, I should probably tell him.
Yeah.
Man, because he had a huge influence on my life, and it was a positive one. You know, he taught me how to stand up for myself. He taught me how to, like, have a voice. He told me, you know, he didn't allow me to settle for when I was being bullied or being mistreated. And that is something I can never repay him for. My brother is surrounded with him my whole life. The most intelligent person I know.
He's a doctor.
And now he's the chief of staff at Guelph General Hospital.
There you go.
And he knew it since the day he was in grade 4. I was out playing sports. He was studying how the body worked. Like, an amazing human being, which brings me to Stephen Bailey. Garden warrior leadership is the idea. Musashi, the Book of Five Rings. I don't know if you've ever read any of that.
Tell me.
It's a quote Just a quote. It was, to give you the Cole's notes, a Japanese samurai who never lost a fight, wrote a book on combat. There's a lot of metaphorical stuff in there. One of my favorite quotes is, better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yeah.
And that's through,
I've heard that before.
through corrections.
Yeah.
Needing to be that warrior. I was a soldier. I was told where to fight, and I won where I fought. That was my mandate. That's what I did. And I brought as many human beings along with me as I could. It was just, there is no losing in corrections. You just can't.
Yeah.
You know? Then understanding the psychology behind it, studying, being introduced to people like Mike Massey, who has shifted the entire complexion of my life by allowing me the opportunity to see that the brain is trainable. It's not just about your body. You know, you have to train your mind. You have to have exercises for your mind. Your mind has to be getting stronger. It has to be developing. It's one of the most complex, intricate muscles in our body, except we spend the whole time doing curls.
Yeah.
You know, now vice versa. I think when you're in the gym, you are training your mind, that resiliency.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
And Stephen Bailey.
The curls are for the girls.
That's right. That's right. The sun's out, guns out. Let's go. Stephen Bailey is a guy who came into my life when I needed him most, and that's a beautiful thing about the humans in my life. They just seem to arrive and pop up when I need them most. Stevie is a native of Ireland, pretty much uprooted his life, decided one day he's coming here with his buddies. I don't want to tell too much of his story because that's his story to tell. Anyway, finds himself looking for a gym to train people at, and walks into TNT in Guelph, which at the time, shout out to Dan DeSantis and Joel Yipchuk for providing the environment for us to meet and cultivate at TNT Boxing. I was coming back from corrections. I had a fight. I'd been training for a couple years. I was looking around. Kids were young. It was difficult. I recognized jiu-jitsu, like you can't go into jail and box. That's not a way to keep people safe in a physical altercation. Jiu-jitsu was the direction I was going. I just thought, with everything going on in my life, I was doing a tough time. I thought, you know what, I think I'm done. Well, here is this Irish native, a couple years younger than me. I will never forget. I was doing push-ups. He was standing above me with Joel, the owner of the gym. And I remember the push-up I did. I thought, you know what, I think I'm done here. I spent a lot of time in a boxing gym, man. When I made that switch, when I found that place, everything I did changed. The way I handled myself changed. I stopped drinking beer as much. I stopped leaning into the negative coping mechanisms. I wasn't playing slow pitch as much, which is where, you know, the group of guys I was doing, that's where they were spending their time, a lot of it. Everything was changing for me. And I was kind of afraid of it. And now I'm in law enforcement. I'm seeing and I'm doing things that I didn't realize happened in this world. And I stood up and I looked at Joe. I said, you know, I think I'm done. I really appreciate all the competitive training. I think I'm just going to go back to being a student here, but I need to move on. Stevie looked at me, let me say my thing, came up to me at the end. He said, hey, I don't really know why, but give me 6 months. Give me 6 months of training. Let's see what we can do. I thought, okay. I go on to have, you know, not a great amateur career. It was, 11, 12 fights. I won more than I lost. I think one of the things I'm proud of is I beat every single person I've ever fought. I lost to some people, but I came back and I beat them. This is a guy who was there for me at the most difficult time of my life. And he had this wisdom about him. He understood things through boxing and explained things about life and difficulties I was having. This is a guy who I would work a 3 to 11 in jail.
Yeah.
I would drive home to Guelph. I wouldn't get home till 12. After you're done your shift, you want to take a shower. I take a shower. I wouldn't be ready to go until 1 o'clock. Guy would meet me at the gym at 1 in the morning. He trained me for an hour and a half. The loyalty, the belief in me. He developed a belief in me, and then he let me go out and he provided me a platform to show myself that I was capable of these things. We would talk about life. We would talk about fighting. And then I would wake up the next day and I'd see he's back in the gym at 4:30. I thought, man, this guy's investing in me. And it made me want to invest back in him.
And you can't let him down either.
I can't let him down. It's one of the places I learned, like, invest in people and watch them. The best investment you can make is into other human beings.
Yeah.
Because that return on investment will pay off like nothing you've ever seen. And you can bank that profit for life man, it's experience. And that's where this guy came into my life. A big part of the academy.
Is he part of it then? It's a business partner, or is he?
So I went on, moved to Stratford. I trained for a fight, driving back and forth to Guelph 6 days a week. One of my last bouts was pretty rough, got my nose smashed into about 1 million pieces. It was a big fight for me, an opportunity to go on sort of a national level and display my skills. Anyway, it didn't happen for me. Got my nose busted up pretty bad. Was kind of asked to stop driving and take a break at home. Yep. It was just becoming too difficult between work and training. That's what brought me to jiu-jitsu. Always stayed in contact with Stevie. He's always been somebody that I am able to bounce ideas off, somebody we would talk about life and difficulties, somebody who removed judgment, fear of being right and wrong, and reprisal from me without ever telling me he was doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and I recognized it early. I owe everything to him. And then one day, him and his now wife, Sarah Bailey, who I went through boxing beside her, watching her grow, develop, and operate at a level that there's just something about those two that I knew, like, oh, they're different.
Yeah.
These people are different. I need to be around these people as much as possible. I need to learn as much as I can from these people and the way they work. And through that, you know, I came to him at one point. The jiu-jitsu club had kind of asked me to start teaching boxing. If I would take a class, I thought, this is great, but I want to go, you know, do what business do I have coaching boxing type of thing. Talked to Stevie, was fully supportive of me. Started developing some fighters. Next thing you know, I'm coaching at 5 a.m. with 2 people showing up. One of them is my buddy Ian, who showed up, who coached a jiu-jitsu class after, which I was one of 2 people in his class. We kind of like cultivated our skills together. I love coaching. I love watching the inspiration and the motivation of young men and women succeeding and feeling success. And one day he gave me a call. He said, Sarah's turning pro, who is an exceptional young lady, 3-country national champion. She got over 120 amateur fights. Fastest ever Canadian to reach a world championship. She is doing things that are unheralded in boxing. Got a pro fight. We want you to be in the corner. Hugely influential.
So what's that look like for you? Like, what are you doing in the corner?
The view I have on it, and part of the reason why I think I am a good fit for the team, outside of trust and loyalty, I will do whatever I need to do for those two.
Yeah.
To put Sarah in a position to get her in a ring wherever she needs to be successful. Stevie works for her. He is concerned with the boxing. He's concerned with strategy, pardon me. He's concerned with her preparation, her training. I work for Stevie.
Yeah.
I go in and I take care of him. If he needs something, I'm there. I'm not paid or there for what I do. I'm paid in there for what I might have to do.
Yeah.
As a support system, I said, I will do everything from go get him water to watch an opponent wrap hands, and then contribute with what I see in the ring at the end of rounds, knowing Sarah, knowing a little bit of the system, knowing the way Stevie thinks. I've developed enough of a reputation with them and rapport with them that will give my opinion on the boxing, what is happening in the fight, what I'm seeing, what I think should be done. But my real role is I work for Stevie.
Okay.
And I think because of that, I've been exposed. I think now I'm upwards to I've worked 21 professional corners between MMA and boxing. I have had the best seat in the house, buddy, if nothing else. I have the best seat in the house for some of the greatest fist fights I have ever seen. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to be a part of those. And the experience. That's what is king. It's the experience of showing up to those events, taking part in the process, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, seeing that the mindset applied at such a high level isn't that much different than the mindset that is applied at your everyday level. And that's why I preach everyday leadership. It's not that much different. It's not the title.
Yeah.
It's not the accolades. It's not the position you hold. It's up here. And everyone is capable of it. Leadership is for anybody. It is just not for everybody.
Do you see yourself, leading the charge, being in the corner for somebody as a top coach, or like, can you see yourself doing that? You know?
Yeah, that's kind of what I do for. I like to think that I do for the young men that are members at the academy that put themselves out there. They put their faith and their trust in me. Almost every single one of them I've assisted in building from the ground up. And I say assisted because for any coach to believe they're solely responsible for the success of another human being is asinine.
Yeah.
There's tons of influence of people that surround them. You just have the privilege as a coach that they gave you the opportunity to be a part of their journey. And that's how I see it. I don't see, you know, how do I articulate this? I don't think it's a privilege for them to have me in their corner. I see it as a privilege and honor for them to choose me to come through and trust what I'm saying to be a part of their journey. And because of that, I'm thankful for any opportunity I have to lead someone or walk someone to the ring, you know, or the cage.
So with GWL, okay, do you incorporate that? Like, you'll do it for companies. We talked about this. You'll do it for everyday, you know, men and women. With the prison system, do you do that with the prison system? Do they hire you in order to come and, or like, how does that work?
That's kind of, I almost do a parallel thing, which is I have to be really careful not to like solicit my business through my position. It's a conflict of interest.
But you're doing the same
same
motivation.
I do very similar thing
at the prison.
Yep. Across the province. I do it for.
So you go into prisons and you'll talk. So it's different. It's actually your, I would classify it as a day job.
Yep.
And then you have your GWL as well, which has parallels between the two.
Yep, 100%. I provide leadership guidance, advice based on my experience on how to be a leader, how to resonate with people, how to create an environment for yourself, how to create an environment for other people that is full of value and positivity, because we don't have it.
But you're doing that in the prison system. So you're going from, and you have, you know, correctional officers call you, right?
I do sergeants and above.
Okay. So you deal with
leadership positions.
Leadership for senior management.
Right. Now, the one thing that I've identified through my experience there is it has nothing to do with rank. And I think that's like one of the most powerful things right now for me, is that my worlds collide. GW leadership is a thing because it has to be a thing. Number one, because I have to have a place to train, which means I have to make money. But if GWL didn't exist, it would still exist. It's like I've been blessed with this. I don't have a choice now to pick something else. Every day when I wake up and I journal, I make a commitment, my long-term commitment. One of the projects that is currently underway is the Leadership Journal. I think journaling for me has been a shifting introduction to my self-awareness, to my emotional intelligence, to my seeking of understanding of life and leadership and how it works together. My first line is, I am a commitment to my light path and the principles of leadership that guide me. I don't have a choice now. I have seen that I have it in me to positively affect the trajectory of other human beings' life. And I don't care if it's 10,000, I don't care if it's one. If I can positively influence the direction of one other human being's life, who's going to go positively influence maybe 3 other people's lives, who's going to go influence 5 other people's lives, who's going to go influence 10 other people's life, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, when you sit down and you look at the effect, and now how can I do anything else? So one of the programs that we have that we're trying to bring out in partnership with, a little bit of a plug, my partner Mike Massey, it's called Presence Over Pressure, and it is an organization or individual specific program that combines the introduction of mindfulness with the introduction of leadership and how the two work together. We provide it as a talk, as a half-day event. We provide single one-on-ones. We provide videos, but it is all specific to the leader. It isn't cookie cutter. So we will go in, we will interview, we will send out questionnaires to get an idea of what people need, how they see it, how they see an organization, right? You can tell me what your organization needs. You can tell me what your company needs, but is that the same thing that he thinks you're going to need?
Yeah.
And so we get an idea of what people are starving for, and then we use mindfulness and leadership as a combination to shift the way people think, the way they approach things. And buddy, I'm telling you, when you watch it happen, it's like, well, I can't do anything else. Everything else feels like a waste of my time. And again, that's like, now I've hit this point in my life where it is in every part of my life. And what more beautiful thing to be able to, and again, it comes down to my family. I just want my kids to know and see that, number one, the hustle pays off. The grind pays off. There is no replacement for hard work. There is just none. It works. You put your head down and you're capable. Anything you dream. What do I have? This is crazy. Like, what is it we were even talking about right now? I have a leadership business that is created out of error, that encompasses an academy where I train teens and regular people, and I go to organizations. Like, even now we're having this conversation. It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's a mission. That's what it is. And guess what? I had it in my head. I have this vision for what it could be, all in one place. The idea of training your mind, training your body, and then leading people to this academy of leadership and improvement, to surround yourself in a community of like-minded people with like-minded goals who understand it's okay to be positive.
Yeah.
It's okay to try and make a mistake and come back and try again. We're going to remove judgment, reprisal, and fear of being right and wrong, and we're going to watch people flourish. And I don't even know what it is, but I tell you what it is. Subjective and objective. Objective is I have a platform and a place, and I do everything I can to reach as many people as possible. I just want to allow people the opportunity to come with me. It's not for everybody, but it is for anybody. And if you're searching for it, I found it. And if it ain't your cup of tea, no problem. No problem. You get on another bus. This bus is leaving. It's full. It's jam-packed. Feels damn good to be on. And we're moving fast, man.
Bang.
You know? Let's go.
So, no. I love it. I love it. And I think too, like, I love the prison aspect of it as well, because I do feel like there's a need for that. So you opened up your big mouth at the right time. Okay. So I would believe that. Yeah, you are. You got a fucking big mouth. But the second thing is I think that, like, you know, I say fathers, but I'm sure this, you know, some out there for mothers, but I do feel like, and I've struggled with that too at certain times where, you know, like, what do we do as fathers? What are we doing? How do we, you know, are we doing the right things? Are we being consistent enough with our kids? Are we playing baseball enough with them? And then all of a sudden we sink back into work. And then we pull ourselves back out. And I think that's what the coach does. And that's what the system does, is whenever you're starting to dip underwater a little bit, it pulls you up, right? It pulls you up so you can see what's around you. But one thing that like was really consistent too here, there's no rank, right? It doesn't have a rank, which is really cool, because even when you were talking about Pedipure, I saw him not too long ago, by the way. Gave him a great big hug. But you're not, you have the humility to go to a peer. Okay. You guys are similar age group. Okay. And you go to a peer and say, hey, you know what? I always looked up to this guy. And you know, your thing, your question was, should I go tell him? You're damn right. You should go tell him, because I think that people don't understand that. And when you lead by example, there's not a lot of people that are like, hey man, that really meant a lot to me, or, you know, because then all of a sudden now that boosts them up, and they've realized that there's that one person. They've done something for that one person. All right. And then it forces them to want to be better. Right. So like, it doesn't have a rank is pretty important, but the humility aspect of it is as well, because we're dealing with our egos with, like, I mean, even if you look at between you and me, I mean, we've been at it a few times.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like nobody backs down. But if you can find like gifts and all that stuff, I think it's important. Like telling one of your buddies that, hey man, I'm really looking up to you. I think if anybody's out there, then and they feel that way, they should say something about that.
Man, honestly, one of the most powerful messages delivered throughout this entire podcast. Recognize success and positive influence. Celebrate failure and recognize and celebrate positive influence. Tell people, man. There's one of the things that I was thinking about on my way here is how am I going to use this as an opportunity to just put all of the people that meant something to me. I don't want to forget anybody.
Yeah.
I got number one, my family, my kids, William, Jackson, Evie, Olivia, and my better half, Kate. I literally couldn't say enough about them. I am so damn proud of every single one of you. Even I get emotional thinking about it, And then the people like Mike, Ian, Stevie, Ryan O'Shea, who owns the jiu-jitsu club that I have the saying tattooed on my wrist, fact and non-verb, actions, not words. My brother, my immediate family. And then I think about to who I grew up. Guys like Pettipier, Brubaker, Kinsella.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Rob in a long time. Shoot him a birthday message.
Yeah.
That guy, I looked up to him so friggin' much. I actually remember a conversation. It was in grade 7. I wasn't the coolest kid. I kind of hung around people who were cool, but I was never that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here we are walking to the shopping mall for lunch, the Stone Road Mall. It's the first time I ever felt like somebody was really brought me in and didn't ignore me. We were walking to the hotel and Rob was telling a story, and the guy can tell a story.
Yeah.
I never forget that. It's one of the first things I know. I'm like, I got to be around this guy.
Yeah.
This guy's the best. And he turned around. He was talking about, something that somebody, I had no idea who the person was. We're getting into trouble. He looks around and he kind of goes, hey, who's this guy? And then Brubaker and Pettipier are like, oh, that's Ferg. He's good. And immediately he looked at me, shook my hand. He was like, okay, if you're good, you're good. And then he just kept on talking. I thought, man, I want to do that for somebody else.
Yeah.
What that guy just did for me. Then growing up in high school, just the influence that human being that he had on me is so unbelievably influential. And I heard something about him the other day. I forget who I was talking to. I said, he's just a great father.
Yeah.
Like Rob he's turned out to be just such an exceptional father. And I thought, like, it even brings tears to my eyes right now. Like, God damn, man, that guy.
But that doesn't surprise
would be the best.
That doesn't surprise me.
No. Yeah, like such a good human being. I think about all those people being here.
Yeah.
Having an opportunity to share this space with you and put some of those people on a pedestal and spread this message and this mission. Like, God, what did I do? Yeah. I fucked up so many times. Why? Why were we given this opportunity?
But it is one of those things where we go straight. Like if people, you mentioned like Rob, you like for instance, you know what you want to do, right? Look at you. You know what you want to do. You found it, right? Now you're constantly growing. You're constantly, resetting, reimagining it, refocusing
messing up
as many times as you can. But like, when you have that, like when someone says, yeah, I don't care about going out tonight because I'm going to go do this tomorrow. Right. To me, I look at like, holy shit. Like Hode used to do that. Right. I'm not going to go do this because I got to go work out in the morning. Or I'm not, and there was this like it's a confidence, but it's this like mentality, which is what's happening here. And that's why people are gravitating towards that. Because I might be like, screw it, I'm going out. And I would 9 times out of 10. But like it's that attitude which draws people. Now it's not going to draw everybody, right? But there's going to be some people. They can be similar age, they can be younger than you. Like, and I think that for everybody out there listening too, you can have an effect on somebody. Senior management in the prison, I'm sure they're not easy guys to really break into. Okay, and here we are. So I think that's important for people to realize, regardless of age, somebody can give you value in certain aspects of your life.
At all points in our life.
Yeah.
I I read something not too long ago and I don't know who said it or where it came from, but it's the minute I stop learning is the minute I start dying.
Yeah.
And that's why I love reading. That's why I love books. It's just a collection of human experience.
Yeah.
It's just a collection of people who wrote down their thoughts and ideas, what worked. Here's what worked. Try and find a way to do more of it. Here's what didn't work. Maybe try and avoid this.
Yeah.
But it's like this beautiful collection of human experience passed on through time that will live forever. And the one thing I'll tell you that works since the beginning of mankind is leadership. Connecting with your people, putting people in a position to succeed, benefiting from it. Leadership is a wellness practice. It makes you feel good. We're talking about positively influencing people. You know what I mean? There's this saying at the college, and it's everywhere. It's like you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't agree with it more. I'll tell you what, the fastest way to fill mine up is to dump mine in somebody else's. It's this crazy thing where you empty your cup into somebody else's and all of a sudden you find yours is full to the point where you start finding that you need a bigger cup.
Yeah.
And it feels good to feel good. It feels good to positively impact people. That's why I truly believe in community involvement. Not everything has to be for money. Sometimes it's be motivated by virtue, not desire. You know?
Yeah.
It's funny the way life works is that people who want the fancy car and the big house, the traveling, that's what they're focused on. It's so hard for them to find it.
Yeah.
Because they're motivated by desire. They're motivated by physical possessions. But you look at this other guy, it's motivated by virtue, that has a mission, that has a mindset that carries them through situations. They never looking for those things, but somehow they end up finding it. And it's like you always get those other people going, must be nice. Must be nice to just have it. Oh, you didn't see the hours of community involvement. You don't see the investment. You don't see the hard work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's interesting the way life works like that, you know? And I want to get this in before we end. You know, that's what I see with you. Super interesting. Because I started watching and commenting.
I'm still shocked you can read.
Listen,
like,
listen, it works. You practice hard enough. Slow progress, still progress, buddy.
All right, well, let's finish with this.
You know, it's because I watched and I was liking and commenting your videos.
Yeah.
Long before this ever came to be. You know? And I found it so interesting because I'm like, why do I even like the guy's videos? Yeah. Outside of it being you and like, I know you, I want to see you do well. You're always good to me.
Yeah.
Outside of grinding my face into the gravel running track on the John F. Ross, which I can still feel on the left side of my face as you tapped me on the ass and said, better luck next time.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, why do I believe this guy? I'm not looking for a new house. I'm not looking at real estate. But it's because you believe it.
Yeah.
You're authentic. You know, I don't really, the thought never really went through my head that you're just selling houses. Even coming in here and talk to you, I'm like, oh man, this guy is selling a vision.
Yeah.
He's like, what you sell is core memories. And no one ever going to be able to pay you back for that. When you sell a home, I watched you, one of the things you did, you went into the backyard and there was a barbecue up on a little terrace and you kind of painted this picture of like a dad around and barbecuing and a great place to have people over. And I sunk into it and you made me believe it.
Yeah.
And it's because of that I want to buy a house from you. But I don't want to buy a house. I want to buy a home.
Yeah.
I want to buy a place where I'm going to sit down and have conversations with my son or my daughter. I want to have a place where after all the hustle and bustle and done, me and Katie are going to be able to sit out back and have a drink and reflect on the beautiful things that we have, our healthy kids, our gorgeous house, our dog that is an absolute pain in the ass.
That's right.
You know, but you believe it. There's an authenticity about you and what you're building that I don't even like. Houses or real estate gives me anxiety to think about moving. I moved like 21 times in my life. I never want to move again. Like I love my friggin' house, but I'm watching your videos going, God damn, he's right. Look at that. Yeah. Hey, Kate, look at this.
Yeah.
This is amazing. You believe it, you paint a picture of it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's like such a beautiful thing about what you're doing, and somehow you found the ability to give people like me the opportunity to come in here and send a message.
Well,
and it's like, that's just
and the
thing,
cool
man.
thing here about this setup is it's not going away. So like, you know, now we get to know you, we can have you back here just talking about specific topics, right? Like we've covered
we've
it
bouncing.
all right now, right?
Yeah.
You threw a few shout outs to Katie. I know you're trying to cozy up. I know
That's
it's going
right.
to be a good night for you guys tonight. But yeah, I appreciate that. So, you know, you're always welcome here, and anybody you think that could add value to us is always welcome here. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah,
and,
100%.
But I appreciate you on the show.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks.
Thank
man.
you so much.
Okay.
Get this.